Newcastle Live.
Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure.
So you're heading to Sydney later this month for Supernova. Are you excited?
I am. I've always had a fondness. Doesn't everybody have a fondness for Australia? I feel like we're all Australians. I don't know why, but I've been there a number of times and have enjoyed myself every time I've been there, and I look forward to it again.
And what do you enjoy about an event like Supernova? And I suppose you guys have Comic-Con over in the States, but what do you find that you personally get most out of events like this?
Well, I got to be very careful because the kind of nourishment that these things feed is very rich.
Yes.
Don't need a whole lot of it, so I don't do a whole lot of these. This will be the first event like this that I've done in probably 10 months, and the first one actually I've done out of the country, out of the United States. So, for me, I'm very curious to see how different or how similar the Australians in your marketplace react to the various things that are brought in front of them. Because my experience has only been from an American audience to pop culture and to the fantasy world as they're presented at a like you said, a Comic-Con type show. So I am anticipating that it'll be quite similar, but just because of the accent, it will seem completely different. Refreshing.
Look, many would say that your show defined a generation, and what is the pressure to know the mythology and all the ins and outs of a production like that when you do meet a fan?
Let me understand what you just asked or just stated. Did you say it defined or defied? Because it's done both.
And maybe divided.
And divided. No, you mean defined, right?
Yes, I certainly do.
It's odd because the Brady Bunch is everything that people think it is, and nothing that they thought it was. I mean, we weren't even a genre of our time. We were a genre of a previous decade, if you will. And at this point, it has transcended the entertainment as it was originally conceived, and it's become something bigger than that. Certainly it's still entertainment, but it's now become a touchstone, a representative of the quintessential American family, though produced right in the middle of Vietnam. Its brilliance is that it completely ignored the society's issues around it. Brilliant because for a child, those aren't their issues. I mean, fortunately, they weren't our issues. I guess to some degree, some children somewhere during war have the war brought right to their doorstep. But from the distance that we were from it as a child, no child was experiencing. A child doesn't really experience ups and downs in the economy. Again, at some epic level, I guess they would feel it like they did through the Depression here. Yeah. So most of the modulations, social modulations of the time are completely ignored by families, or their children are insulated from them. Let's put it that way. And as a result, the show itself, devoid of all that, seemed to be, even as I was growing up as a teenager, a little odd. Like, why aren't we a little plastic, a little shallow, a little hollow? But it wasn't intended to be anything other than a very simple. I mean, it could have been a cartoon, a very simple play for children, for kids, and about family and about place and family, and how to deal with. And I guess every kid has those issues, even from a latchkey kid to a kid with 10 families. I've had families, say that I watch it because my family's just like that. You guys were just like my family, or I watched it because I had no brothers and sisters. You became my brothers and sisters. You were like my brothers and sisters, and there's a great honor in that. It's a great privilege to have had that place in people's life. And people ask me all the time, why do you think it resonates with people? And it's simply because people got attached to it during childhood. Yeah. And in your childhood, things aren't forgotten. when you reminisce, the things that you reminisce most fondly about are childhood. When you're, like Christmas and those times, anything that can touch back that deeply resonates, more core than things remembered from 15 years ago or 20 years ago. Matter of fact, there's more of it that resonates because you can remember it more clearly. The Bradys were let in, as a member of everyone else's family. I meet people and they say, I grew up with you, and I hear it all the time, and it's like, I feel like I've raised a nation, and I haven't raised myself yet, but it's true. We really have. We've raised, at this point, it's not just moms whose kids are now watching the Brady Bunch, although that is the case. It's grandmas who are watching their grandkids go through watching a show that they watched. And watching the same show and finding the same enjoyment. I again get fan mail from 7-year-olds and 10-year-olds who blissfully unaware of the passage of time, or that it's not being produced currently, and but to them it is still relevant, because that part in one's life, everything about family is all that is relevant.
And do you think, I suppose what I wanted to ask you is, you've just said that people invited you into their home, and what I want to sort of ask is, do you think because of that relationship that people have had with you and the TV show, that when you meet them in real life, they feel like they know you?
Strangest, absolute, most difficult part of this whole thing. And now I've had 47 years to be dealing with it, and it gets slightly easier to deal with only because I'm ready now to understand, and I can accommodate for the disconnect. And that disconnect is, I have people who believe they know me, even though they know they don't. They act like they do. They are so. There's so many levels of familiarity that have been that we haven't had to go through for them to act that way toward me. But the problem is that I don't have any with them, so it's one-sided. I know why they feel like that to me, but frankly, I don't know them from Adam, and that becomes the difficult part. The part is you were so well known by to them that they feel that there's a reciprocation, like you must know them as well.
Yeah.
And even though they consciously know that you don't, their actions, their behavior is odd, because they're acting to you as though you have known them, like they've misplaced you, like you're not the person that they must think you are, because why would they be acting like I'm a member of the family? I think you got me confused with somebody else, but they don't. They know where they know you from.
Yeah.
It's off-putting to me at times, because it feels I'm challenged then all of a sudden to come up to speed really rapidly and time again, all the time. It's like everybody really is a best friend. And then when you don't have time for a best friend, there's hell to pay. That's when it's really evident that this thing has been a privilege, but you've got to. At some point, they say, "Listen, I am not even going to go into public now because I don't have the patience for me. I don't have the energy right now to pretend like we've been friends for 20 years, because I'd have to pretend, although there's no pretending on their part."
Newcastle Live.